Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to yet another episode of the Insight UTG program here at BFP Productions. You should know me by now. My name is Kingsley Isaac Olatunde, 6th-year medical student and the current Deputy Informations and Communications Minister of the current Executive Council of the University of the Gambia Students' Union. This afternoon with me, I have two guests, a lady and a gentleman, and they're both invited from the newly elected Executive Council of the UTG Debate Association. I'll allow them to introduce themselves, starting from the illustrious lady on our left. Please introduce yourself to us.
Thank you so much, Honorable Kingsley. It's of course a pleasure having us here today. I am Mampo Saho, a third year, almost final year political science major, and of course the newly elected Vice President of the Debate Association of the University of the Gambia.
Beautiful. And you?
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Olatunde. It's a pleasure to be here. I am Jibril Njai, a third year nursing student, currently the president of the University of the Gambia Debate
Mr.
Association.
Jibril, you can't forget your position. It's important. So why we are here, the newly elected president of the UTG Debate Association. Our topic today is pathways to a successful tenure. We are here to discuss what exactly inspired them to run for the executive positions in the Debate Association, and what exactly their plans are to move the association forward during the coming 11 to 12 months. Not the 12 months anymore, right?
11.
Yeah, 11.
Right.
My first question for today is, when exactly did you join the DA? Now, we know that the University of the Gambia Debate Association is the biggest sub-association in the university, but then knowing that it's the biggest and being active in the DA are two different things.
Sure.
Yeah, you're a member, but then being an active member is something else. So I want to know, when exactly did both of you become active members of the University of the Gambia Debate Association? Ms. Mampo?
Well, I think I was basically active as soon as I was admitted into the university, and that's way back in 2018. When I was the honorary member of the SOSA Debate Association, this basically, connected me to the DA, because I was moving with these some of these honorables that were in the SOSA Association. So together we helped the DA move forward, start ranging from the logistic work, from the logistic work up there. So I think that's basically qualified the word active there.
All right, that does qualify the word active. You, Mr. Jibril?
I think it will actually give me time to be cautious rather, because after differentiating active from the other one, I think I was enrolled in the university in 2019, but I was not a member of the executive of the Debate Association. But early 2020, I represented my school, which was the School of Nursing, and then I debated. I was a finalist, and then after the debate, the executive invited me to join the nationwide tour to help the students in the rural Gambia to enhance them in trainings regarding debate and public speaking. So that was the first time I participated, and I would say that was early 2020. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. We both became active members of the UTGD at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Same time.
We had a battle.
Yes. Beautiful. Okay, prior to running for executive positions at the DA, have you held any executive positions at your sub-associations previously? Mr. Jibril?
Yeah, in my first year, second semester, I served as a member of the Audit Council of the 5th Executive Council of my school, which is nursing. And then in my second year, I served as the Gender and Health Minister of the same association. Yeah, that was prior to me coming to the DA as a presidential candidate.
Okay, and how did that prepare you? What did you learn being acting in that position?
Yeah, leadership qualities refurbished more than what they used to be in high school. And then I learned to work more with people, get to know them better, get to work, putting differences aside. And of course, working with other associations also gave me that atmosphere to get myself used to the task that is ahead of me. So at this moment, I think I am much more better as compared to what it used to be. Yeah.
That's the prayer of progress. And you, Madam Mampo?
Yeah, I think, again, back in 2018, during my first semester, I was appointed as the honorary member of the Social Sciences and Humanities Debate Association. Then from there, we had this reshufflement in the SOSA DA cabinet. Then I was promoted to the welfare minister. So Again, I was the Deputy Secretary General of the Electoral Commission in 2018, where we held a very free and fair election. So I think all of these activities, exposed me to gain some experience, and of course, it helps me in one way or the other to prepare for the DA.
All right, ma'am. So now it comes to the meat of our discussion today. What exactly inspired the both of you to run for executive positions in the DA? Now, first of all, you're from your own sub-associations, and knowing that the DA is the biggest sub-association in the university, you know the caliber of responsibility that will exist at executive level in such association, such an organization. So what exactly inspired you to leave the comfort zone of your schools, your sub-associations, to come forth to the entire UTG as executives of the DA? Let's start from the lady this time, Madam Ampo.
Well, I think there's just one agenda that I have, is to serve. Yeah, I'm basically very passionate about serving, and I think this, of course, motivated me to come forward to the DA. Looking at the dynamic and the nature of the DA being one of the biggest sub-association, it basically entails a lot of tasks and, of course, responsibilities. And as a young lady, I'm very passionate about serving, so I think this basically motivates me to serve.
Passion for service. President Jibril.
I think, as a debater, I have this passion to make sure I lend a hand in atmospheres where people will not face any hurdle or difficulty as far as debate is concerned. I am not oblivious to the fact that there are a lot of work that waits in the debate association, but then I think I'll have to remind you of instances in which my school, some of the people actually reached out to me to come as the president, but I was like, no. I want to go for something that I love. The debate association waits, and it is something that I want to participate to make sure that there are a lot of things that are achieved, just to elevate the primary reason, which is to extend debate wide and far within a university, within and outside the University of the Gambia. So these were just the things coupled together that gave me the zeal and desire to run for this position.
Okay, in both your answers, you both mentioned problems within the DA that you'd like to help fix. So what exactly are those problems?
We assessed the previous councils, ranging from the era of Omar Saiba Kamara, Mr. Lagami Gumane, and then we made to understand that the biggest problem that was faced was the issue of office. Lobbying an office was a problem, but I won't come to that late now. Because before you have an office, then the activities that are supposed to be done in the office were supposed to be upright. And then we made to understand that they have a problem with training, venue and whom to train, who to train them, what time to train, where. These were all problems. And then some of the things that we have as a policy to change this is to make sure, because back in the days, you will invite the students, let's say, weeks before the competition to have them trained in a university. So if you have little or no people to train them, it's like there is no effective training to be done. So I and my council have this policy to go on a school visiting to train them way before, like let's say a month before the competition. In this case, if you train 50, 100 people, even if those 50, not all of them are representing their school, it's like you've already impacted. You've also helped them develop in the area of debate. That is sustainability. So these are the things that we want to cover. And also with regards to the office, we would work. Yeah, we have an agenda. And we would work so hard to make sure that we work with the bodies that are responsible to make sure that an office is lobbied. Because DA being the sub-association, the biggest, where you're expected to do your work with regards to debate, public speaking, and of course research, that affects literally every student in the university. You definitely need an office space to do your work. Yeah.
I agree with you, Mr. Jibril.
Right.
And you?
So I think this question will basically push me to talk about some of my policies, right? Yeah, as the president rightly mentioned, we previous councils faced series of problems, ranging from having trainers to train these debaters, and of course the issue of office and stuff like that. But outside from that, we, according to the aims and objective of the DA, one of the main aims is to promote debate within and outside the country. So basically, as a council, we have this policy of extending debate, not just within the country, but again outside the country. So this will basically help us to discuss about some of the contemporary issues affecting the nation and of course the continent, since Africa is basically facing similar problems. So we believe that with doing this, we will basically help the government, we will enlighten the government so as to, affect or maybe impact on some of the public policies they will make. So yeah, this is basically one of the policies that we have as a council, and we will be very much delightful if we get the chance to implement this policy.
I believe you'll have that chance. Allow me to spin off this discussion on a tangent. You mentioned sustainability of the debate, and I would notice one discrepancy within the sub-associations in terms of the debate competition. Certain sub-associations have their own DA, like the social DA, am I right? Exactly. Meanwhile, most of the other sub-associations do not have such a mechanism or association in place. And I believe it is one of the reasons why their progress in the debate competition has been greatly impeded. In fact, we've had multiple occasions wherein schools are unable to present candidates to the debate, or their candidates feel they are insufficiently prepared for the competition and therefore drop out. So, how do you plan to level the playing field? Because Sasha has been going far for quite a while now. We need to give other schools a chance. So, how do you plan to level the playing field, bring all these other sub-associations to the same level as social? Of course, we don't want to take them down to the level of those sub-associations.
Yeah, I think honestly, I will admit to the fact that you really know the system, you really know what is going on, and it is, let's say, coincidentally, that we have the same agenda to curb that problem. We need to understand that schools like Unigamsa, of course, my school, nursing, schools like engineering, schools like ICT, some of the time, we face a lot of problems to have representatives. So just like you said, the reason is because they are not fully given the atmosphere to participate. And how do we do this? We want to make sure that we go to each and every faculty, establish a debate association. Or the faculties that are already having debate association but are not functional, we make them functional. How do we do this? We make sure every association where we have a particular sub-association, we pick an individual to serve as the ambassador of that association. Join them to the DA that will connect the association to their sub-association, so that none of the activities that we're going to do we keep them in limbo. So when this happens, it's like we're going to organize a training for all the members of that sub-association. So it's like they are partially prepared, let's say months before the competition. And when the competition is approaching again, we will invite them for another training. And this will give them actually that stance to be able to identify 2 to 3 people. Because if you have a whole association that you call a debate association of your school, there is not a single way that you would say, I don't have any person to represent me in this competition. So in this case, we would have all the 11 schools or more to participate in VCNC. So that will going to curb that problem of people not participating from their schools.
I'm glad you've identified that.
Yeah, I think also to elaborate on that a little, I think some of these schools basically feel left out simply because some of the topics that are given out. Some schools feel that maybe the social sciences are favored more than some of the natural sciences or the other schools. So to deal with this problem, we as a council we will also embark on setting up a committee that will be basically just be there to be working on giving out topics, and in so doing we will also make sure that topics are scrutinized before given, and that each and every school will have 1 or 2 things to basically be debated on. So yeah.
It's really nice when I do not mention the problem and you bring it up.
Right.
And it's right on my mind, it's right on the tip of my tongue, and I refuse to bring it up. But then you brought it up yourself. This has been a recurring problem in the DA, the issue of the topics. It's one of the reasons why schools battle so hard, especially when it gets to the quarterfinal, semi-final stages, and they drop out easily, not because they can't debate, not because of ability, but then a lack of information. Because schools like law, social are more empowered in these topics than schools like NSA or Unigamsa or ICT or journalism. And then it demoralizes individuals from these schools because they feel left out. The topics have very little to do with their fields of study, so it's biased against them. But I'm glad you've identified that problem. Identifying the problem is a huge percentage in solving the problem. Now that we've spun off that particular tangent, we'll continue with our questions for today. The next question is, how did you go about forming Team Impact? And what was the motto behind the team?
It was really, really interesting. Like it was interesting, and it was definitely rocky, because trying to bring people together to serve, I think is one of the most difficult things I've ever encountered. And the people that reached out to me, some people they surfaced because they had this passion to serve. Some people surfaced because they want to be part of it, they love it, but then if you love it and then the abilities were not there, I am sorry, you cannot join. We had to assess people. We actually set criteria. Mampol was not the first VP that we had. We had Miss Fatma Tata from the School of PPA, but then I think later she realized that she was not fully there. She was not fully ready to serve. And then people actually reached out. They were like, contact Mampol, contact Mampol. Like Mampol was that, I was like, who is Mampol? Like, who is Mampol? So they were like, just talk to Mampol. Then I reached out to Mampol, and then Mampol was like, I think I really want to serve. I really want to make sure that I lend a hand in this chain. Cutting across to all the candidates, we assessed them. We made sure that our candidates were not from one side of the university, because we want to extend the participation. We want to make sure people from different schools are feel that they are belonging in the activity. So we collected we reached out to some of our members from the School of ICT. We reached out to some from law. I was from NSA. We had some from SOSA, Mampol, and our logistics minister at the moment. And then we have 2 from BPA, which is our finance minister and the auditor general. So it was a problem. Before we actually come together as a team, it was like people that have these aspirations to serve. But then meeting, discussing, I need to understand that I am actually under the same umbrella with a very good, dedicated, and hardworking people who sees nothing other than serving. So this was how we actually concluded that this is the council that we want to work with. This is the team that we want to work with. So Team Impact, the name came at the last hour, like at the 11th hour. We were actually planning to go on with the elections without a team, without a name rather. It was not that much important, because we were like, let's just serve. So people suggested that they came with a lot of names. So then I think Team Impact overshadowed all of them, and then we used Team Impact. The motto for the team was listen, think, and speak. Yeah, this was the motto. It has to do with debate. It's a must.
I am glad. In fact, I am very pleased that the executive is decentralized across all the campuses of the university. And in fact, I am most pleased that the president of the DA is from Banjul campus, where I'm from. And we know how Banjul campus relates to the rest of the university. But it's good to see students from Banjul campus, coming out of the woodwork to serve in the university. Yes, Madam Mampo, so considering that you came late to the team, do you think it caused any friction between you, a newly invited member, and members that were there from the beginning?
Well, not at all. Yeah, not at all. Because basically, I knew most of them. I mean, some of them, or few of them. I mean, before the commencement or the formation of the team. So this was basically not much of an hurdle. And also, I think my desire and readiness to serve was just seen out there, and this has opened a lot of doors, and they basically all opened their arms to welcome me. So yeah, it didn't create any friction.
Oh, beautiful. Mr. Jibro, so I am going to run us off on another tangent, and this is a more personal one. So the current IPRO, the current elected IPRO of the UTG DA is a good friend of yours, Mr. Ibrahim Asama.
Yes.
And knowing that both of you are really good friends, I was surprised that he wasn't the Team Impact candidate for IPRO. So what led to that? Because I know you guys are good friends. I know that there's no fiction between you guys. So what led to that? Even though he won at the end of the day, thank God, because Ibrahim is a good friend of mine and I believe in him. But then what led to that friction that made you guys occupy totally different camps during the election?
Yeah, Ibrahim went independent though. Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he went independent.
Yeah.
He went independent.
I would reaffirm that I think our biggest strength is our social relationship has not altered with our political relationship.
I agree.
And then Ibrahim was actually part of the team. Yes.
Okay.
He was part of the team. Like from the inception, he was the one we identified as the information minister. But then at some point he was not ready because he was supposed to serve somewhere else, outside the university though. And then he decided to back up. So when that happened, we reached out to someone else, which was Miss Our Conte. And then when Ibrahim Asama realized that his arms are now free, I think he wanted to contest again. So he reached out, and then we were like, we're sorry, we have someone else, someone that we already talked to. In fact, I was planning to come as Sama's deputy because he also had the same aspirations to serve as information minister. So I think it was unprofessional for us to actually remove to input Sama. So then Sama respected his desires and he trusted himself so much. I respect that so much of Sama. And then I would admit I've never lost hope. And then Sama was one person that the reason why I actually decided to work with him was because he's confident. So when he decided to go independent, I was like, I am ready. Like, you can go for independent. We wish you all the best. And then that was how it was. I think until now, we still have our good cordial relationship. Yeah.
I am glad my curiosity has been satisfied. Because it was in my mind. I know. Alright, moving on. So what exactly are your... I think we've already touched on this next question, because the next question is what exactly are your plans to move the DA forward? But then we've already touched on certain areas. Do you feel there are any areas you've not mentioned?
I think I want to talk about something.
Okay.
It is a culture in a university that if you talk about debate association, all that you see is debate, public speaking, or let's say poetry at the 11th hour, which is the competition, the finals.
Yeah.
So what about research and advocacy? In fact, advocating to some extent is done because during their nationwide tour, the community outreach are enough for the advocacy because they advocate the people, they sensitize them on irregular migration most of the time, which is 2020 and 2021, as long as I know. So, for research, even the constitution will tell you that it is part of the mandate of the University Gambia Debate Association to conduct research in the university. We don't have to leave every single thing to the hands of the research minister of the SU. I think there is so much that we can do as an association to make sure that research is established. And one of the policies that we want to establish is to conduct this research competition rather, to be called the practice. This practice is going to make sure we have 5 representatives from each faculty who are going to do a research in relation to their domain, to their area of studies. So, because every particular area of study in the university is connected to a particular sector in the country, we're going to invite stakeholders of that particular area. Let's say, for example, if you have 3 or 5 people from your school, you might be the cheerleader, you know. So you will have to make a research on health. Probably tell us the problems that the people are facing on health. How do we want to cope this? So we will invite either the Minister of Health or the Director of Health to be present on that day. During the deliberation or the presentation, it is a must for us to make documentation that even if they don't jot them down, we will have to send a document back to each sector to make sure that these things are used in their policy development. To make sure that they are, it's like we have simultaneously, we have killed 2 birds with 1 stone. One is we have participated in national development, if that is done. 2, we are going to expose all the students that participate to a broader horizon when it comes to research. Yeah.
This just proves the one point I always hold steadfast to, that students within the University of the Gambia have solutions for this country and are willing to work to move this country forward if only they're given the chance, and you've helped me prove that.
Sure.
Madam Ampo, do you have any plans that you'd also want to highlight for us this afternoon?
Yeah, also the other thing we are aware of is that DA is basically focusing on the university and the high schoolers. So we want to extend this to the middle school because we want to believe that early exposure, early experience is very vital in someone's life. So we want to extend debate, public speaking, and of course research to the middle schoolers. So this is also another plan that we have.
Beautiful. Okay, let's move on with the questions. Let me stop at the tangents. What legacies did your predecessors leave behind that you feel are important to uphold in the DA?
Yeah, they are the miscellaneous. They are very, very important. I think there is no way a particular group of people will come in office and want to do away with the activities that were already instilled by the previous council. One could be the nationwide tour. It wasn't there because Miss Fatmata Kamara, who was the president prior to Omar Saibu, during her tenure was the first time when the DA embarked on this nationwide tour. And the nationwide tour, that was when you go have a community outreach, sensitize the people on a particular chosen topic, and then you train the students in the rural Gambia, stage a competition, and then you come back. That is like you're also extending debate to rural Gambia. That was done. The next council, which was Omar Saibu, he also did the same trend, but then he actually added a partnership with IOM. So they started to sensitize people on irregular migration. So when Lagami came in office, that was done simultaneously, but then he also pulled the bar higher. What he did was, because back in the days, you'll have the competition organized and staged at the rural Gambia. You certify them, award them, and then you leave them there.
Yeah.
But then that was not enough. Because the Vice Chancellor, if you come back here, the winners are awarded a scholarship. So I think he believes that there is much to be done. Like there is a possibility for the people from the rural Gambia to benefit from the scholarship. So he staged a competition with his council.
Mm-hmm.
From the quarterfinal, he brought them back. He brought them when they were coming back. So they were lodged at the YMCA, where they attended the quarterfinal. Some of the schools didn't make it, and then two schools, which was Kerawan Senior and Soma Senior, made it to the finals. So during the finals, you need to understand that for the first time in the history, a student from the rural Gambia appeared to be the best speaker in the competition. So the person, this like Soma actually came the runner-up, and then the girl from Soma was the best speaker. So it's like, for the first time, Soma is going home with a partial scholarship.
Wow.
So these are activities that we would never want to do away with. How do we want to strengthen? Maybe we will hold on to them, but we must do some refurbishment. There is a need for that, just like the previous council have been doing. So I made to understand that debate is very connected to research, and your ability to research gives you a wider exposure to work with people, to actually move with the community. So let's say we want to make sure that we reach out to Center for Research, other places that can actually house these great debaters in the university, so that they can be on a paid internship. At least that is going to be a plus. So that they will not only celebrate themselves as debaters with certificates, but also people that your ability to debate open another door for you, which is a paid internship. Yeah, this is what we want to do.
I like that, President Jibril. I was looking forward to hear something in particular. Before I mention, with the Mampo, do you have any legacies that you'd like to mention this afternoon?
Yeah, I think this is the problem of having a president that's basically a champion in debate. I think Mr. Jibril has basically highlighted some of these most important things that we want to, look into as a council.
Okay, there's one minor. It's not minor in terms of its impact, but it's as a program, it's pretty minor. During Lagami's tenure, there were weekly debates, I believe, that were held. You and I debated in one of those sessions, if I remember. Okay, it was online.
Yes.
I was hoping I would hear you mention something about those sessions, because personally, I believe it was one of the activities that kept DA members active, regardless of what campus they occupy, because you didn't have to meet together to discuss or to listen to each other. You could stay in the comfort of your home, connect online, and then hear people talk about issues around the university. And I was surprised that you guys didn't mention it. But it's a minor issue. I would like to say that I'm hoping you guys do not let that die out.
No,
I think it is already there.
Yes, I think that might be my fault, because basically the agenda that we have to promote debate within and outside the country, what we intend to do is to start it virtually, having it online, considering the issue of funding and of course the issue of coronavirus.
Restrictions.
Yeah, traveling will be very hard. So I think this will basically.
In fact, that has to do with extending to the continental level. The information minister, Mr. Sama, Ibrahim Sama, I think it is one of his policies to have the debate hour, because we plan to have, he actually have it under his agenda to organize a weekly debate. He called it the debate hour.
Yeah.
So it is one of the policies. It's definitely going to be implemented. We are not oblivious of anything that is going on.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful, because I do love that weekly series.
Okay.
It has a special place.
I
in my
know
heart.
it was a very good battle.
Yes, it was. Okay. I'd like to suggest that during these weekly debates, maybe we could discuss some of the more pertinent controversies within the university, because there are certain topics that we know are controversial, but it's very difficult to find a gathering to discuss them.
Sure.
I can't come up with one off the top of my head. Okay, maybe abortion, for example. Yeah, I would say abortion is pretty controversial. And you have people on both sides of the fence.
Sure.
So that's one of those issues that I feel we could discuss.
Yeah.
Let's hear what the university itself has to say. Let's expose what the university thinks to everyone else in the campus. That's just one of my suggestions for you guys this evening.
Yeah, I think that is very important to consider, because if I have to reference to our company to our debate, imagine two people from the health sector are debating if we're supposed to have the COVID vaccine taken or not.
Yep.
So I did my research. I was really convinced. I was like, I think I should not take this vaccine until when Kingsley started talking.
Right.
So I was like it was like this. Kingsley was definitely giving me more than 1,000 reasons why I should be vaccinated. So I think it's very important.
I think actually there was a particular guy in the audience who mentioned he was going to get vaccinated because of that particular.
Yes, I know.
So you see that our debates, they look very, very simple. They look very small, unimportant, but then they do have the power to impact people's lives, and I think that makes them very, very invaluable to the association. We've come to the tail end and the final question of the day. I think I would give this to you, Madam Saho. What values do you think should be inherent in every active member of the DA? What personal values, what personal opinions do you think every DA member should hold dear to themselves, that should distinguish them from, the other general students?
Yeah, I think one of the most important value is open-mindedness, because when it comes to debate, public speaking, you basically have people that have various opinions and perspective. So to be able to deal with this perception or perspective of the people, you definitely have to be open-minded. And I think you also have to be very much committed in whatever you do as an active member of the debate association, to be committed, to be determined, and of course to be open-minded. I think this is just some of the values that will be very much important to be inherited by every member of the debate association, and of course by every student of the university. As a university student, it's very important to be open-minded.
I agree. Thank you very much, Mrs. Saul. Mr. Jibril, do you like to add any other values to that?
I was going to talk about commitment, but I think you already dealt on it.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad open-mindedness was one of the first things. It's very, very key.
Yeah, it is.
I think that's it for our discussion today. I thank you guys very, very, very much. You guys have made this session very, very interactive and very, very, very fun. I look forward to having, DA members here on the BFB show, later in the year. Maybe hold one of your debate hours here. I would really, really love that.
Yeah.
I think even my boss will love that too. So the viewers out there, thank you guys very, very much for tuning in, and we will see you again next week on Tuesday at 3 p.m. Have a nice day. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you.